Alright, in this video we're going to style this Juniperus procumbens nana. This is one of the most commonly found junipers in garden centers that have potential for bonsai. So you see them around the world and in many different styles, but immediately with these long leggy branches, this could potentially be like a cascading tree or semi-cascading tree. So the first step is that we need to figure out the bones of this tree. So I'll cut off the rim of this plastic pot, get rid of the top layer of soil, up until the point where I hit the first larger roots. So that's going to be the top level of any future bonsai that this might be. So by taking that first layer off, I can look into the tree and start making a plan. Because right now I have no idea which branches I need to prune and which ones to keep. So step one, figure out where those first roots are, study the tree, make a few important cuts for today. Then my plan is to also repot it. So I don't want to do everything with this plant in one go today. So it's spring, it's a good time to work on these trees. But if you repot, prune, wire, basically present the finished bonsai in just 2 hours work, I'm not sure if this tree is going to make it, and for sure it's going to slow down and maybe shed a few branches. So by taking it slower, you actually speed up the process. So today, a bit of pruning, figuring out the style of this tree, placing it in a bonsai pot with good bonsai soil, and then half a year from now we'll take the second step, more pruning, wiring, and working towards the finished tree. But let's see. So by taking the rim off the pot and removing the top layer of soil up until the point where where there's these first roots really start to appear, you start to gain an understanding of the tree basically. So now I can look into the tree. It's still a mess, it's very full, and so it's very hard to decide what to do. So we'll have to get to know the tree a little bit better, and one way of doing that is by removing the undergrowth, so anything that grows underneath, removing all the dead stuff as well. So on the interior of the tree, you can see, because there wasn't any light here, that all these interior branches died off or aren't doing very well. So by removing those, by scissoring away all those dead branches, I also start to get an understanding of the tree, and then I can start making decisions as well. Having cleaned the tree, we finally start to get an understanding of the structure of the branches. And like I said in the introduction, this is going to be a nice cascading tree. So the front is more or less at this place where the white label is attached, and the main trunk leader will go in this direction. So this is going to be the front, a few small branches here, and the main trunk leader in this direction. So that means that on this side of the tree we can make a few larger cuts. So for example, these two can be reduced in size, and either this one or here will be the main trunk leader. Alright, so instead of simply removing these trunks altogether, I'm just going to shorten them from now and then see if I can use them or not. So for now, I'll just leave a good part attached. And probably this will be reduced later, but let's see. I just want to reduce them in size now. Just a standard pot where I can place this tree in. And so by placing it like this in the pot, I just have an understanding for myself of more or less the flow that I want to achieve with this tree. I'll study it a bit more, make some more cuts, and then I think for today that's going to be all we do in terms of the foliage. We'll also place it in a bonsai pot with proper soil so that the tree will be healthy, and then we'll work on it again in 6 months from now. Before continuing, I'd like to show you our Bonsai Care app. The app provides tree species specific information for all your trees, and it can set smart reminders to optimize the care for your bonsai. It is available for free in the app stores. Okay, we are now at the point where, looking at the video, you'll also be able to look into the tree. So before I could look like from underneath, so I had a bit of an understanding of the tree, but now it's much more open and you can look at it from all sides. So I think the tree has two potential fronts. One is the one you're looking at from this angle, where we just created the gin. We would wire the trunk and position it this way. But actually the tree could also be looked at from this front, and then the tree doesn't need all that much wire because the trunk is already growing towards you, and that's what we want. So I think for now we'll stick with this being the front. We can prune a little bit more, add a bit of wire, but like I said, I don't want to do too much today. We'll put it in good soil in a large bonsai pot, and then 6 months from now the tree is ready for the next step. Alright, so finished pruning the tree. So for now it doesn't need wire, we'll do that later, but we are going to place it in a bonsai pot. The pot I had in mind was actually a pot you were already looking at. I wasn't sure if it would be the right size. I think actually it's going to be on the large side for the tree if we take the soil off, but let's see. I do have some smaller options available as well, but I think for now, and also for the health of the tree, a slightly larger pot might be the good solution. So most likely this is going to be the pot that we'll use. So the first step is to take the tree out of its pot, take some of the old soil off using a chopstick and a root hook as well, and then we'll take it from there. So for sure this is a very healthy plant. I could already see by looking at the foliage, but also the roots are young and strong, so it's a very healthy plant. It will do absolutely fine with the pruning and the repotting that we did today. But like I said, and like I always say, it's better to not do too much to the plant in one go. So a mild repotting today, a lot of pruning, and then the next season in fall we'll wire it, make it a much nicer design. Styling a bonsai tree and applying these sort of techniques correctly is one of the most difficult parts in creating a bonsai tree. You can check out our YouTube channel for videos about these techniques, but perhaps also consider enrolling in one of our online bonsai courses. Here, expert teachers explain all the relevant techniques in detail, and as a student you can also ask questions directly to the teachers. Each of our online bonsai courses have free previews available in the curriculums. Simply go to bonsaiempire.com/courses. Alright, 6 months ago we worked on the tree, pruned a few branches and decided on its main position in the pot. I still think the pot is a good fit for the tree. And today I think we'll give it a proper styling, so more pruning, wiring as well to really decide on the shape of the tree. But before I start doing that, I just want to start removing all the dead parts. There's a few like here on the interior, and then we'll take it from there. Alright, I think most of the dead parts have been removed. And then still, before starting to make decisions, I think it will help me by first reducing some of these growth tips. So there's a lot of new growth, so I'm just going to scissor those back a bit. And what that will do is it will help me understand the tree a bit better and open up the structure. But at the same time it also helps me to basically redistribute growth from the outer parts of the tree more to the inner parts. And especially this part is very strong growing because it's the top of the tree, so automatically the tree just directs most of the growth here where it hits the most sunlight. So I'm just pruning back those tips. And with this species it's quite easy to see where the tree is growing strongly, because the strong and the new growth is always that light color. So I don't even need to be very careful. I can just see this is a strong growth section, so I'll just prune that back a bit. Easy. So only if there are sections where I want strong growth, so say for example this branch I wanted to extend, so then of course you don't want to prune here. But that's not what I want. I want this to be more compact, so for sure I could just prune off that strong growth here. Alright, so finished cleaning up the entire tree, and if you compare this to just half an hour ago, you can see much better into the tree. You can see the trunk line because it's just open up by removing all that dead foliage and the growth tips, and also anything that grows underneath those branches. It's already a much nicer tree. There will be quite a bit of work in wiring the entire tree, and that's exactly what is necessary now. We'll wire the trunk line and start creating paths throughout the tree. And that's quite a bit of work, so I'll take you close up in the wiring process, and we'll take it from there. What all this wiring will do is we'll create paths today, and from there on there's an important maintenance job in basically plucking all that new growth in the early spring as well, just to maintain those pad shapes and to make them a bit more condensed and compact. Wiring is our focus for the rest of today. All right, we finished detail wiring the entire tree. Took us about an hour or two, but the result is there. All the little branches have been wired, the long ones as well. So now we are ready for designing the tree. So none of the branches have been set in position. That's what we're going to do right now. And I think the first part of that discussion is discussing the front of the tree. And actually, I think the two fronts of the tree right here, so you're looking at that front right now, it's a good option. And the other front could also be an option. And I think this front has some merits to it. The foliage pads are a little bit more visible. You could bend this around and have the long branch growing towards you. So all that is possible. But the only big flaw of choosing this front is that no matter what I do, I would have to bend extremely in order for you to see the trunk line here. So I don't think this is a real option because if you look at this side, you have a really good view at the trunk. There's a nice line here. So for me, this is the front of the tree. If we choose this as front, we have to manipulate the tree a little bit because both the main branch as the branches on this side would have to be bent a little bit towards you. You want it to hug you more or less. So the main branch will come this way, and this section might also be bent here. So we use some thick wires that we can actually manipulate it any way we want. Same here. So we'll go from there. So I'll just set those branches in position. If you make a bend, especially one of those bigger branches, it's important that you bend it over your finger. So for example, if I want to make the bend here, I place my finger and then make the bend. And what that would do is just distributes the tension that you're adding to the branch over a longer section. So I'll take you close up so that you can see what we're doing, and then we'll take it from there. All right, finished setting all the branches in position. I think the result is actually really nice. It's much more compact and it has a nice flow towards you in the end by bending this towards you. So from here on, it's fall right now, so we're going into winter. The tree doesn't need any special protection at all. And then sometime in spring, late spring probably, maybe even summer, will likely be the moment when the wires start to bite into the bark, and that's the moment when I have to remove all the wires again. Other than that, it's important to do the needle plucking regularly, especially in springtime, and what that will do is will just make all these pads a bit more refined and compact. But the main shape of the tree has been decided on today, and I think we went for the front right here, so I think that was a good decision. The flow of the tree is just really, really nice. So that's it for now. I'll show you the tree maybe in a year or two, so stay tuned and we'll give you the updates later. Cool. Learn how to create your own bonsai trees by enrolling in one of our online bonsai courses. We explain techniques like pruning, wiring and repotting, and you can ask questions to the teachers. For the curriculums and free lessons, go to bonsaiempire.com/courses.